Welcome to Worship Tutorials. The Stereo Amps Pack Volume 1 is something unlike anything we've ever really released before, and Bradford and I are super excited about this. We've taken 7 of our favorite amplifiers that we like to pair together in a stereo format, and we've delivered that to you for all of the modeling and capturing devices that we make products for. That's TONEX, Quad Cortex, Kemper, Line 6, HX, and Fractal devices. For the capture type devices, you're going to get multiple captures of each amplifier, and then we've suggested for you which pairs we like to put together in stereo, but really it's up to you. You can mix and match as much as you'd like, and we've given you different levels of gain for each capture, whether you like to run it a little cleaner or a little dirtier. Bradford's going to come in and tell you more about that in a bit. Now for the units like the Line 6 Helix, the Fractal FM9, AXFX3, we've given these settings to you via amp block settings and Tone Match Gen2 IRs. So I'll talk to you a little more later about how it all works, but essentially what you get are these 7 different amplifier settings for single coil and humbucker voicings, and then the impulse responses that go along with them. But then we've also delivered for you 2 different preset templates. And in these preset templates, you can mix and match these amplifiers to your heart's content. So it's kind of like an open world video game, like a playground, if you will, that you can just put together all these different combinations in these larger modeling units like the Helix, AXFX3, and FM9. It's available for Stomp as well. Let's listen to some more playing samples, and then we'll tell you more about the individual units.
if you are a TONEX user, I'm most excited about this. This is kind of what got me thinking about just offering something very simple. Just like before TONEX 1 came out, I was thinking, you know, if people are going to be buying these things, they're 180 bucks. They're probably just gonna want like the 1 or 2 captures, lower gain. They don't want the cranked amp. Maybe we should offer that. And so that idea kind of came to be that way. These TONEX amps, we gave you our 2, same with Quad Cortex. We gave you the 2 and the 3 captures. The 2 is considerably lower gain. Maybe something like the 64 AC30, our 2 capture may have a little more dirt comparatively to like the 2 of the Chimera, for example. My personal preference and suggestion is to use the 3 if you find that it's too much gain. That's good. Just dial the gain back. It kind of like creates extra headroom, which I think is my preference and feels and sounds better than like, oh, 2's perfect. Let's just run 2. Lately, I've been using TONEX. I've actually made a little board that's like a not too much bigger than like a PT Junior, and I've had the TONEX 1s on there, and it's crazy how something so small can like sound like it does. Wild. But if you're a TONEX person, this will be right up your alley, I think. We're just offering you the captures, like we said earlier, that we would imagine you would want. If you really want the full array of gain for the amp, you can buy the full packs. Let's talk about phase, polarity, all that for a second. You're going to get a chart, and it's going to tell you every amp. So there's 7 amps. There's 4 combos, 7 amps. And we use 1 amp twice. And each amp is going to tell you which other amp it's in phase with, out of phase with, or partially in phase with. When you're EQing your amps for different guitars or adjusting gain pedals, that kind of thing, consider phase a very similar thing. It's not that tough. The easiest way to tell if your amps are in phase is to put them in mono. If you're panning them, then sum them up, you know, straight up and down for a second, and just listen and flip the polarity on one of them. So just choose one and listen. We wrote in the chart, and you should be able to follow that exactly and just figure out what's going on. You don't even have to think about it, but if you want to listen, hear all that, there you go. Quad Cortex, you're getting 3 patches. You're getting a template A and a template B, and we're doing that with Fractal and Helix as well. And then you're getting another pack. If you're familiar with how we do stuff with Quad Cortex, you get the 2 patches, and then you get a patch that is basically just all the captures. It just makes it easier for us to send them to you. So you're getting 14 captures in there, and what that's going to do is just automatically put them in your like capture library, so you'll be able to access them however. You don't really need to use that patch. It just allows us to give you those captures a lot easier. But you're gonna get 2 templates, A and B. A is like our preference, well, maybe more my preference. Brian prefers B a bit more, I suppose. A is like real world. You got all of your effects, and the amps are the last 2 things in the chain. So all the effects are going into there, and the amps are going to add some character to your effects and kind of get them all gnarly and chewed up. And you know, the more you compress the amps, the more of like wall of sound you're going to get. And then template B, we just basically ran all the drives and I think of 1 or 2 modulations maybe into the front, and then the delay and reverb after. That's going to keep things really clear and crisp and clean and defined, and some people like that. And so we're like, you know what, let's just, whatever we can do to add value here, we're going to do that.
So for the Line 6 HX devices and the Fractal devices, the FM9 Axifex 3, and then for Line 6, the Helix and the HX Stomp, what we've given you are favorites files if you're in the Line 6 ecosystem, and block library files if you're in the Fractal system. So first let's talk Line 6 HX. So this is Line 6 Helix and HX Stomp. Now there are longer videos, I've actually called them digital manuals, that I've made for the Line 6 and the Fractal devices. If you purchase this product and download, you'll get links to those in the PDFs where you can watch me go through this process in detail and in depth. But what we've done is we've given you favorites files for Line 6 for all of the amp settings. If you don't know what a favorite is, it's sort of a preset of an amp block, or of a effects block, if you will. So it's like your favorite settings of the AC30 amp block, or of a delay, of a reverb, of an overdrive, what have you. You can save those individual files as favorites. So you import the favorites, you import the presets, you import the impulse responses, and then you can start mixing and matching. And we've delivered two preset files. One is called the Stereo Template A, and that is all of the delays and reverbs going into 2 amps in stereo. And then there's Stereo Template B, where you've got the amp and IR blocks in front of all the delays and reverbs. Everything else is kind of set up the same as far as the drives and what the reverbs are and delays and what they do, snapshots, scenes. But it lets you experiment with those two types of signal path setups, and you can decide which one you like best. I actually like them both. Sometimes I prefer to run wet effects after amps, sometimes in front. Just kind of depends. This way you get them both. And then you can just pull in these amp and IR blocks, match them up in any kind of stereo configuration that you want. Now, we've also delivered over 50 effects settings for you via the favorites files. So this is going to give you all kinds of different overdrive options, compression options, modulation, pitch, delays, reverbs. We've dialed in the delays and reverbs so that they're set for both pre-amps, and those are called pre, so in front of the amps, or after, or we would call that post. And so for every single delay and reverb setting, you actually get 2 favorites files or 2 settings files, whether you're running in front of or after amps. So really what this does is it unlocks the Helix for you. You've got this preset template, and then you can just start putting together whatever kind of signal chain you want with all these different dialed in effects settings. It really is like, I like to think of it like an open world video game. You can do all the side quests. You can level your character up to the max before you ever take it out on a Sunday morning on the main quest line. And just, you know, you're as my son would say, you're OP at that point. You're overpowered. Okay, so for Fractal, it works pretty much the same way. You get those 2 templates, those 2 preset templates with the different effects routings, either amps after the reverbs and delays or amps before. And then the way we've delivered, Fractal doesn't have a favorites functionality, but they have something very similar called the block library. So we've given you all of those amp settings, all of those different, actually there's more for Fractal, the effects settings. I kind of went a little crazy on the Fractal stuff and put in all of my favorite settings for reverbs, delays, drives, all that kind of stuff. And that's via the block library. And if you've never used the block library before, it acts sort of like favorites does for line 6. It's presets of individual effects blocks. And like I said, there's that digital manual available for you where I walk through how to import and get everything set up. But you can just mix and match and put these amps setups together and create some really cool sounds and just make it your own. What we wanted to do was give you something that would unlock these devices for you. So it's not like you're just stuck in this preset. You've got our favorite go-to sounds and you can just open the whole thing wide open. So I'm excited for you to try these out on your Line 6 or Fractal devices. Thank you again for watching. Links below where you can learn more, hear more samples for everything, and purchase if you are interested. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do so. More of these are coming. We named it Volume 1 for a reason, so there will be more to come. We're excited for those. We'll see you in the next one. Bye.